Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Oppenheim, and I am a volunteer yoga instructor at Century Villages at Cabrillo in Long Beach. And we have a little thing, you can't see the logo, it's called Pathways to Health. And every class I teach, I talk about breathing and teach breathing. Now, we all know that not breathing, you're not living. So this is really about a new way that I learned just 3 years ago from a friend of mine who understands how the body really works. And I'm going to take a couple minutes and show you something that you can do wherever you are, even in your car, although you don't want to close your eyes in the car. But just most of us who work at home, as you can see, I'm in my home office. Well, you can't see the computer, but anyway, for those of us who work at home and you just sit there concentrating, or God forbid, you're on 7 Zoom calls in a row, but usually between all of that, you do have enough time to stop and just do what I'm going to show you. And I'm going to explain the 3-part breath and why it works and how you can relieve stress. So you can sit up tall, or in your chair. I always teach this in yoga. I always put my shoulders over my hips and my knees over my ankles. But the main part to learn is what is belly breathing. It's really a 3-part breath, and it has to do with diaphragms. We have 3 diaphragms, one right below the hips, one here, which is the abdomen, and then one up here over our shoulders. And I won't get into the science of that. If you go to John Oppenheim Yoga on YouTube, there is one with a big explanation of how this works. But I just want to show you how to do it. I do it all the time. And the benefits of learning how to do this are unbelievable. Actually lower your pulse if you really learn how to get a lot of oxygen in there. And again, non-scientific, but the way it works is that your brain needs oxygen, sends a message to your heart and lungs and says, hey, I need oxygen. And so the more oxygen you can send up, the less time those messages come down to beat. So if your sitting pulse is 80 or 72, which is kind of the one that's recommended, that's fine. If you want to lower it because it's good for you, you can do that. Mine was 55 to 60 when I started learning this, and it's now 50 to 55. I do a lot of walking. I'm pretty athletic, or have been. So that's one of the reasons that mine might be low. So anyway, just sit back, and I don't close your eyes at this point because I'm going to look at this. So if you put your hands on your belly, just like I'm showing, and just bring your fingers together, just so they're barely touching. And as you inhale, bring air into your belly. And if you're watching me, you can see that my fingers actually came apart. And as I exhale, I bring my fingers back in towards my spine. And I inhale and exhale. And of course, it's more than just what's going on in front. This is a 3-dimensional body we have, so your back is expanding as well. So just take another couple breaths like this, and then we'll move up to the second spot. So now just bring your hands right under your rib cage, which is where your abdomen is. It's also where that diaphragm is. And the way I understand it from watching that video that friend of mine did, when you inhale from the belly, it drops that diaphragm down. And when you inhale from up here, which is what most people do, most people breathe mostly just from the chest, especially when they're under stress. That sends a message to your brain, then that fight or flight thing that we all have heard about. So it's saying, hey, I'm distressed, just tense up. if you get that diaphragm to lower, then it sends a message that says, relax, things are good. So enough of that science. So again, just take that nice deep breath. And you notice, watch my fingers as they separate. Then my rib cage is expanding and I'm bringing a lot of air, all the air really, into my abdomen. And obviously it comes down from the lungs. And then the third part is right under your shoulders, right here, clavicle. It's where your lungs are. So you want to bring air into the lungs. So the same thing, I'm going to go, bring air into my lungs. And every time I exhale, I'm also bringing my belly back into my spine. The reason for that is give me a little core work. So now if you just put your hands on your knees, and you can imagine this, maybe closing your eyes, or you can just watch. You're going to do that 3-part breath. So you inhale first into the belly, then into the abdomen, and then the lungs. And as you exhale, you let it go from the lungs back to the abdomen, and then your belly, bringing your belly in towards your spine, expelling all that air. So let's just do about 3 more of these, and then we'll end this. And hopefully you can bring it back up anytime you want until it becomes a habit, which I'll get into after the 3rd breath. So that's basically the 3-part breath. If you do 5 minutes of those, just focusing on the breath, maybe doing a 6-second inhale, 6-second exhale between those Zoom calls, or just when you feel yourself under stress, you'll find that it becomes a habit. And it takes a while for things to become a habit until you're conscious of it, and then you become unconscious of it because you're doing it as a habit. And that's really what happened with me. So I hope this has been helpful, and I encourage you to do it.